I myself, I hate bullying. I hate bullying so much. Uh, when I grew up being bullied for who I am. Sometimes I always thought I should change myself just because I felt like some people made me feel like I'm not enough. I was bullied and emotionally I always felt like there was something wrong with me. So somewhere, somehow, although I won't fully understand the point where the girl who took her life was at, but I've been there, although with me, it didn't grow to a point where I felt like I could take my life.
Just go and ask for forgiveness. It shows that there's a problem from within internal.
I also feel for the girl who gave the last clip to Lufuno.
And it starts off as a joke.
Despite on whose child it is.
He allegedly assaulted Lufuno Mavunga for Lufuno Mavunga.
I am going through somebody who understands, somebody who can hear. Kids are getting raped in schools.
So with me, my take on the story that you just told me, my take about it is that bullying, it's a weapon that actually, it's a weapon that as a country, as a whole, a country as a whole, we must deal with it. We must fight it. It's a pandemic that we must all gather around, hold hands and fight it. Because bullying doesn't only affect people physically, it affects people emotionally. People die inside because they're being bullied. I believe Lufuno died inside. I don't think her being beaten just by a slap is what killed her. I think what killed her was the emotions, herself inside. She felt like she's no longer herself, and she felt like the only way to find herself is just to die because she doesn't know who she is. So I think bullying is something that should be fought so hard, because bullying is a very strong thing and it's a very powerful weapon that kills people. Not only kills people in a matter of death, but also kills people inside.
Talking about bullying as a weapon, how do you think, what do you think about the people that are using this weapon against others? Do you think that they're trying to protect themselves, or do you think that they're just attacking because they want to attack?
I believe most kids think this weapon, this weapon was used against them, maybe by their parents, maybe by their guardians. I believe they became bullied as well to a point, and after they being bullied, I sense to believe that it was made, or they were made to feel like it's okay to be bullied. That's why they would want to go bully someone and feel like it's okay to just bully someone. So I think it's also an aspect of that. They feel, some of them feel like it's protecting themselves, just because when they got bullied and they didn't like it. And however they didn't like it, because nothing was done, they feel like it's a normal thing to do, to just do. And that's why they would feel like it's easy for them, or they don't feel like there's anything that comes with inside them that stops them. Because I believe if a person would do something and feel like there's nothing stopping them to do it, and they feel like it's right, it's either someone made them think it's right, or someone has done it to them. That's why they want to do it to others. So I believe some kids were bullied, that's why they bully others. But mostly, after they being bullied, it was made to seem okay. That's why they would want to bully other kids and still feel like it's okay. Although some kids would bully others because they're being bullied. For example, a kid could be bullied right now, and then fighting back also might also becomes a bully, because you might fight back in the sense of one person slaps me and then I take a stone and then I hit the next person, it becomes a different bullying. But some might bully because they are fighting back. Some might bully because they are being bullied and they're made to feel as if it's okay. And that's why they would want to bully others and feel like it's also okay to bully.
Children's Act 38 of 2005, right, which emphasizing protection of children against abuse and neglection, right?
Okay.
What do you think can be done to stop creating bullies at a very tender age?
Kids are kids. I believe kids, when kids grow up, they do what they're used to or what they're taught. Most of them they're not taught. Most of them just take what they find while growing up. So what I'm trying to say is, as a community, the responsibility of reducing bullies is in our hands as well. If a kid would grow up thinking or knowing that hitting someone is not a good thing, taking someone's stuff forcefully is not a good thing, and you must not do that. Basically, because how I grew up was, I got taught that whatever you don't want someone to do to you, you must not do to them. I think that's the baseline of how the community must raise these kids, knowing that if you would feel bad if someone comes body shame you, if you would feel bad if someone comes take something that belongs to you forcefully, if you feel bad if someone come hits you, it's the same way that the other person would feel if you do the same thing to them. So I think the community, the parents must have where I think the government can enter is to make a lot of campaigns to help the community spread out a message to these kids while they're still young. We're all kids, you know what? That's a message that when you growing up, you must know. All the kids imagine if a government could make a gathering, make sure that all kids in all neighborhoods gets to be informed about not being able to find yourself hurting people, because when it's done to you, you would also feel hurt. So I think campaigns would help where government comes in, so that every village where there's kids, community must help those kids to be at gatherings where government help with other people that are influencers to these kids to talk about such stuff, so that when they think about doing something bad just to somebody else, they must always feel like there's a space of reducing doing bad things to other people. That way they will grow up less of bullies and much of kids that don't bully others.
Okay, so still on that, we have social media also as a factor that contributes to bullying. We also have verbal bullying. We have physical bullying. As someone who we were talking earlier, you told me that you had gone through the same things. But Lufuno was someone that went through all of these kinds of bullying, and she reported those bullies, right? The cases. How do you think you, as people that are going through that, should approach this thing or this weapon as you had mentioned it? How do you think people that are going through the same situations can approach this?
The easy way to approach this is let's make these kids feel safe. How do we do that? We give them justice. We teach kids about consequences of your own action. We also teach kids about humanity. I feel like if kids get taught about humanity, it would ease up most of situations, because at the end of the day, kids are kids. And if I'm a kid, I don't know how to act in situations, but older people get to a point where when they solve the situation, it's more about humanity. I would also feel like humanity is the only way to go. That's how we must make kids feel like. Kids must always grow knowing that humanity is the only way. No matter how the person could be bad at you, no matter how the only way to solve it, you must always solve with humanity, because we're all people. You're a person just like me, I'm a person just like you. Humanity, that's what counts, because we are all human. We are not animals, we are all human. So what I think is best to actually solve this is that parents, especially teachers at school, because they spend most of the time with these kids, they must bring justice to any situation that a kid reports to. Just to give a quick example, if I come back home, or I used to come back home as a kid, report to my mom that this kid did this and this to me. He took my lunchbox, for an example. My mom, same time, I tell her, if it's after school, she will want to know who did that. Immediately I report to her. It's either she's gonna, if the kid lives around, she's gonna walk to the house, go make sure that I got the justice. Justice is just to her standing up and going and letting me know that I take you serious, and whoever that did this or whatever that happened to you, I'm making sure that this must be the last day that it happens. It gives me confidence that when I wake up tomorrow, when I go to school, if my lunchbox was taken, I will no longer feel scared that my lunchbox will be taken, because my mom took that action. Because we are the heroes for these kids. Teachers are the heroes for these kids. Us as brothers and sisters, that's who they believe will fight for them. We are their fighters. So if a kid could come back at home and say, I have an issue with someone, same time, I don't think, even if that my kid was wrong, the only way to find out is when I stand up and say, I'm going to fight for my brother, my little sister, or my child. If that's your child, you doing that, it plays a huge role to a kid feeling that however I was feeling yesterday, I won't feel like that today. It doesn't grow because a parent or an older person that stood up for them, they feel like they did it for them and they feel like the situation is over. So I think the best way is that if ever a parent or a teacher or just a guardian finds out or a kid report, I think the best way is to stand up the same time, show that you're fighting for that kid, show that you are taking him or her seriously about what happened, and you are trying to make sure that however or whatever that happened, that must be the last time it happened to the person. It gives them confidence that if they feel like they're not enough, tomorrow they will regain, oh, I'm enough. Because yesterday I felt like I was not enough because my lunch box was taken. Today, my mother solved that for me. Today, I have my lunch box, meaning I'm enough. So I think when we don't fight for these kids, whatever that's bothering them grows. And when it grows as kids, they will deal with the situation in a way that we might not understand.
Right, you had mentioned that children spend a lot of time at school than at home.
True.
What do you think can be done by the schools? Because we have your lunch breaks, we have even a break for nothing at all. Right? We even have after schools, before schools. If a child is early, what are they thinking about? You understand? So do you think that creating or implementing extracurriculum activities would help to decrease the amount of the rate of bullying?
It would. I believe it would so much, because when kids are at school, they say I'm at school. They know they're not at home. And if they're at school, they know that whatever that's going to be done at school, they know this is done at school because I'm at school. They know they're there to learn. And that must be the most, that must be the most factor that as teachers, as their parents at school, must encounter. Teachers must be sure of what kids are learning more, because they're there to learn. even break time. It doesn't mean if they're not learning life science or orientation or physical science. When it's break time, teachers must help these kids learn something. They must learn something. That way, if there are activities, as you say, if there are many activities, it helps that in activities they would be learning something. Although it's outside learning my life science, because I know there's a period of life science. But at least if it's break time, and at least after break time or before break time, at the middle of break time or before I go back to class, there's an activity where I can go learn something that's outside of books. That way it will help them have much occupied about learning what we want them to learn, rather than them being so much free, because at their free time as kids, they would want to do however they feel like. They will want to bring up whatever they want to bring up. So I think monitoring kids and shaping them to what we want them to learn. For example, if we want to teach them about humanity, about the bullying, at least if we could act activity after every break, a 10 minutes activity of teaching these kids something, teaching these kids a martial arts, for an example, to teach these kids that hurting a person is not a good thing, giving opportunity or for people that if they are doctors and all that, to teach these kids something that's outside of syllabus, but more of how they must live with each other at school. Because as teachers, at the end of the day, besides them learning about the syllabus, they're also learning to live, but not only to learn about the syllabus, but to learn also how to live with each other. We drive that as parents, we drive that as the community. We must teach, the government must implement on how at our community, because every community has its own obstacle. If at our community, for instance, we have a problem of bullying, there must be activities that must be done at a school place to teach them how to conquer the activities that are around their community or around where they stay, to conquer them as people. Not that's what they must learn, because if they could only learn at school how to write, how to pass maths and science, and not learn how to live with each other, or not to learn how to conquer problems such as bullying, which we know it's a huge problem that as kids they won't think of it because they're kids. But I believe that teachers must have a way of making sure that they teach these kids about a way of living that helps them as kids live better outside of just learning the syllabus of school.
Thank you. Do you believe that social class played a role in Lufuno's death?
Yeah, I do believe. I know so, because if something is videographed and you see it a lot of times, you say a lot to yourself. For an example, if I could find a picture of a pair of sneakers I like, if I could see that picture a lot of times, there's a lot of things I would say. If I'm saying I love this sneaker, that would make me want to stand up and say, let me go ask my dad to buy me this sneaker. Me looking at some stuff, capturing some, if stuff are captured, looking at captured stuff all over and over again, that's what makes us decide to do something. That's what triggers us as people. So I believe that on what happened to Lufuno, because it was videographed or it was captured, I'm sure her looking at that as many times said a lot of things to her. I believe it was not good things, it was bad things. She had a lot of bad comments about her looking at that, and that bad comment triggered her to do bad things to herself. Because if her looking at that, it adds up. I look at the video for the first time, I say bad things about myself. I look at it for the second time, I say bad things about myself. When I do it for the third time, I might stand up thinking the main thing about this video is these bad things or whatever that I realize about the video. That's what I will take action to. So I think the social class played a huge role in how Lufuno acted, because I believe if it was not captured, it was just going to be a situation where she was in as a kid at school that was solved, or whoever that was there saw it. But because it was captured, I felt like it gave her a lot of thoughts, and which was bad thoughts about herself, because now she thinks these thoughts that I have, maybe that's what everyone that saw the video thinks out of it. So I think the social class played a huge role on the Lufuno issue.
What do you think can be done, or how do you think we can solve this issue of the agenda that has been pushed by the social media?
I think I will start off by saying social media is us as people. I don't believe social media is social media itself, because we are as people who log into that social media. We are who comment, we are who like, we are who shares. Social media does not do that itself. It's us as people. So social media is just another platform that it's made, that we all have to share our thoughts, we all have to share or comment or do whatever just to engage with each other. So I believe social media starts, we are who are responsible on what we drive on social media. I am responsible on how I want people to do on social media, because I'm the one that decides what to post, I'm the one that decides on what to comment, I'm the one that decides to what to say. What I'm trying to say is, although we could say there's an agenda of saying a beautiful person is a yellow bone, is this, that's a person. Although it's on social media, it's someone that's saying that. So I think a better way to solve such situation is we must create a new agenda. Because me, if I'm posting, it's on social media. It's a post on social media because I posted it, or I want it to be posted. So I think the best way is to create a new agenda. Although we grew up in an agenda of people that thinks this is how beautiful girls look, this is how handsome boys look, we should take responsibility of creating a new agenda for the next generation. Because whatever that goes to social media, it's us that takes it. So if we take everything on social media with a point of view of saying we're creating a new agenda, if 90% of what's in social media, or what we all as a community post on social media, creates a new agenda, that's what the new generation will grow up believing. Just like how we grow up believing what we believe. Most was posted, or most people in community posted about that, and that's what we tend to believe. So I believe the best way is that we as the community, we must drive a new agenda that does not discriminate other people, that makes these kids look at all different type of people in the same way. If a kid must look at a chubby, slender person, dark, light, as the same way. And how do we do that? We do that, we drive that with what we post. If I post myself and I'm a yellow bone, and I share a picture of a black bone and I say good things about it, if 90% would share and create an agenda of how beautiful this person is, and the same agenda goes to the light person, it would make a kid grow up with an agenda feeling like whether you dark or you light is the same thing. Because although we say they're driven by social media is us. We have the power to take what we want to take to social media. So I think it's best for us as a community to create a new agenda that we post on social media, or we are very, very, very sincere with it, that we are building it for the next generation, because they believe what they see on social media. So it's us now that choose what we want them to see on social media. That, I think, would help a lot of kids to see things in a different way.
Right. You had mentioned that bullies are created, right? And I believe that they are created at school, they are created at home, by the community and their surrounding. How do you think the people that are grooming kids right now, as you are saying that we want to push a different agenda, a better agenda, how do you think that we should raise our kids, and how do you think we should act around our kids as teachers or whoever that we are that are grooming these kids?
Every parent that has a child or has children wants their children to do well, wants their children to have a bright future. So at the end of the day, I think every parent has the same agenda towards their own kids that has to do with good or the positive side of the child. So imagine how powerful it would be if, because I want my child to do better, you want your child to do better, everyone wants their child to do better. Imagine how easy it would be if teachers and parents have the same rules. How am I saying this? If a kid at school is told that using your phone, it's a bad thing, and the kids go back at home, the rule is still the same thing. Using your phone is a bad thing. A kid would think it's right because it's from two aspects, an aspect from home and an aspect from school. Because kids feels like when they're at school, they're at school, when they're at home, they're at home. So at the end of the day, if parents would have a joint venture with parents at school, which are teachers, and parents at business, I mean for transportation, for example, because most kids go to school with transportation. If the rule become the same, it makes these kids have the same direction. Because if I want my kid to do better, you want your kid to do better, we are all in the same direction. That's where we want our kids to head. We want them, that's why we would all take them to school, because we want them to head to the same direction, which we think them going to school is going to shape them to be as better people for the future. So I think parents at school, which are teachers, and parents at home, which are guardians, must join rules and ways of making these kids see, or whatever they believe, they're made to believe at school, it must be the same agenda the parents are pushing. Because if parents push a different agenda from teachers, it confuses the children, and the children will choose. Mostly will choose, some will choose their teachers' agenda, some will choose agenda at home. But if the agenda is the same, it makes a kid do what both parents and teachers want them to do, which makes things easy. So I think there's a lack of agenda, or there's a difference of agenda between kids, parents through the same kid, and the agenda of a teacher through the same kid. That confuses the kid. So I think the better way is parents at home, guardians, and parents at school, teachers, must have the same agenda towards these kids. That way they will all be driven to the same direction.
You are a musician, right?
Yeah.
You join people.
Yeah,
You
very
make
true.
people come together. How do you think that everyone in different standings can create relationship, or people themselves can create relationships and friendships maybe that will also help people to not have any differences? How do you think we can do that?
As an artist, if there's one thing that I've realized that the power that I have as an artist towards people, it starts from what I want to achieve. For an example, however people like my songs, I'm the one that chooses what to say. It all starts at me. What I'm trying to say is, in everything that we all do, in everything that kids would if it's a doctor, if it's a doctor, it's a pilot. I'm just mentioning famous aspects of what kids would want to do, like most kids want to be musicians when they grow up. Most kids want to be doctors. Most kids want to be pilots when they grow up. So as a musician, speaking at an aspect of a musician, it all starts with you. What I'm saying is, I drive what I want people to hear. And at the end of the day, they might like it, they might not like it, which is still okay. So I think if the main aim or the main goal is for us to create a society that's beautiful, that has less bullying, a society that has strong outcome in producing best of different aspects, it all starts with us. It all starts with me saying, you know what, I want to be good, and let me go be good to someone. And that someone, if 50 people could say it's starting with me, to encounter this with a good level of perspective, I think that's what would make things easy. Because with me, being a musician, it's not an easy thing, because nobody tells you what to do. So it's not like reading a book saying, okay, after reading this book, there are going to be questions. Here you have to learn what people like, what people want. You have to do what people want. And you never know that if you don't try it. So I think it's best that if we want to have a better society, we must all start by having a positive. I think that's the key point I'm trying to bring out. We must all have positive. If we can all start by having a positive way or thinking we want to have a positive impact to the people, we will choose wisely and we will do what's best. With me, I wanted so bad to be a positive, to have a positive impact. That's why with whatever that I sing about, we will never have a bad impact towards kids or parents, because I took it. It starts with me. I want to have a positive impact to the community. What do I do? Okay, I do music. It's okay. What do? I sing about things that brings out positivity throughout the community. And although bad things are most what people like the most, I've realized that I started a movement and people are actually following. And because the movement came out of a good and a positive way, look, imagine if there were other 50 people in any aspect that they had, just waking up saying, I want to do this in a positive impact to the people. When you start that movement and people follow, it will lead us to a much better place.
Right, in closing, what message can you convey to educators, victims of bullying, the bullies themselves, and everyone around, the parents, the community? What can you tell them?
I think parents must listen to their kids. When kids come and talk to them about something, parents must listen and they must take action. Same thing applies to teachers. Teachers must listen to kids. And whenever kids say something, it must never be taken for granted, because the confidence that grows within them, it's given by us. It depends on us. How the kids come to me and portray something, how I solve it might break the child or it might build the child. So we must all have an agenda of building these kids. Whenever they come to us, we must give them confidence that we are their fighters. And if they believe and they trust us to talk about certain stuff that's not good to them, let's show them that, no, you're not alone. I'll be here to help you solve this. That way, I don't think kids would ever think of doing anything bad to hurt themselves or ever to take their life, because they know that in this life that they're living at, they have people that will help them solve whatever that comes while they're growing, up until they feel like, no, I'm grown enough, I can solve my problems alone. But they're kids, we must help them solve their problems. So that's a message that I could give to parents, both parents at school and both parents at home as guardians. They must listen and help these kids solve their problems. They are our kids, we must help them solve their problems. That way they will have a better confidence waking up tomorrow in the morning to go tackle what we want them to tackle for them to become better people. And just as a community, my advice would be, we must all have agenda of wanting these kids to grow, to build a positive community. Because the more the community becomes positive, the more the community becomes productive. The more productive it gets, the more development it comes. The more development, the more wealthier, the easier, the better. So the community itself must also find themselves accountable or see themselves as also having a responsibility of making sure that either it's your child or not your child, as long as they're in your community, there must always be a positive aspect that you put on that child. If that kid is not okay, you must be at responsible, or your responsibility as a kid from a community to make sure that that kid is okay. That way it creates a society